Good evening, welcome to Easy8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right at the bottom of the screen, and this is the quintessential place for you to be online, to paint your miniatures, or to do whatever projects it is that you want to do this evening, with me live and the community over here to keep you company this evening. Now, this week I've been hard at work canvassing the local communities on Facebook, trying to see if there's anybody else out there who live more local to me, to see if they want to come along and see if this is the sort of place for them to be as well. So if you're new here, welcome to the show. I hope you find something fun through this. I hope you find some company. I hope you find some inspiration and motivation. Would absolutely be what I'd be looking for. But hopefully, maybe you just enjoy laughing at my mistakes. However, I have not been making that many mistakes recently. I'm about to finish a project, and I don't normally do that live on the show, so I'm really quite excited about tonight as well. And it's nearly Christmas, and I hope you guys are all ready for that as well. If you're working on a project this evening, no matter what it is, maybe it is, I don't know, you could just be painting a little model. It could be that you're building a model. It could be that you're doing a painting on a canvas. Do you know what? It doesn't really matter what it is that you're doing, as long as you're having fun and you're here and you're joining the live chat over there with these crazy people. I point there, but it's only on there on my screen. It could be anywhere on your screen, but wherever these people are, come and join in the chat, because that's what this is all about. We've got loads of people joining in the chat today, and I've lost my train of thought. If you are working on a project this evening, do let us know what it is that you're working on. I'm genuinely interested in knowing what it is, and if you want to show pictures of your projects, please, you could join us on, I got it wrong. You could join us on Facebook. You can also see what I do on Instagram. Haven't really been busy on Instagram. In fact, you know what? Don't even go there. It's a silly place. So if you want to take photos, you can pop it over at Facebook, which is a very active platform for you to be on beyond this show. You can also join me at the end of the show for a live video chat for as long as we want to stay up and to the wee hours, because I'm on holiday and maybe you are too now. And you can do that on Discord at the Easy8 After Party, and there are links to all of those platforms just down there, downstairs in the comment section or in the description of this video. And actually the last couple of weeks people have been coming over the Discord and been talking for however long. In fact, Overlord Games and myself were having a chat last week. They went on for so long, I actually forgot to pour myself a drink. Criminal. If you're new here or you just haven't done it yet, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Every single subscription makes the community grow, makes people more aware. It gets it out there. All hail the algorithm. So if you do feel inclined to do so, please do subscribe, and I would be eternally grateful. Thank you so much, but I'm not going to pepper us with that thing all evening. Anyway, we've got a couple of new faces in the live chat today. I say faces, names, text on the screen, but you know what I mean. We've got our usual suspects. We've got Kez, we've got Overlord Games. Thanks for coming along, guys. We've got Stafford. Hi, Staff. Thanks for coming along again. We've got Plastic Monkey, who's a new person. Thanks very much for coming along, and I hope you genuinely enjoy what this show is all about. Like I say, it's just a live place where people can carve a couple of hours out of every week to do what's important to them and to spend a bit of time on their hobbies. And we've been going now for several years, and the community is getting bigger and bigger, and we're doing more and more cool things together as a community as time goes on. You guys have been harking on recently about going on another road trip, so that the community from all over the country, all over the world, but it's a hard mission to go from another country to this one, I get it, but people from all over the country tend to get together and we go off and do like fun things. And the thing that you've been on about recently is going back to the Tank Museum in Bovington in Dorset, which is fairly-ish local to me, so it's a very easy car trip, but for some of you it might be a little bit further afield. But I promise you, if you have not been, it is a wicked day out. If you're not into tanks, it's probably very boring, because it's all like, relics and artifacts from World War II and World War I, etc. But it is a great source of inspiration, and it's just generally cool, because tanks, right? We've got Darren's joined us as well. Hello. Thanks for coming along, Darren. Nice to see you there. We've also got Dave's joined us as well. Oh, we've got a whole room full today. Staff there's cheering on Bovington. Oh, we've got another new face. 101 Sappy said, "Hi guys." Well, look at this. Maybe my canvassing to the local community has brought some more people along. Anyway, it's the week before Christmas. I told you I'd be here this week. I had it for some reason in my head that the show was going to fall directly on the Christmas, and then I had it in my head that my normal nerd night was going to fall on the Christmas night as well. So generally I've been completely and utterly confused, but we're all ready for Christmas. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, but not bad. There's been a few people around me that have been catching COVID, and I hope I haven't got it. I genuinely think I'm okay, but it just makes me, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, doesn't it? So I bought myself a hot cup of tea, and then the grown-up juice will be later on in the after 8 party. Easy 8 after party. I can never say that right. It's my own thing, and I can never say it right. Welcome to the show. I hope you have a great time. Anyway, let's go back all over to the workbench, shall we? Staffer says, I'm not painting yet. I have to finish wrapping first. Dude, you have left your wrapping to this late in the day. That is a me thing. I do that. So, yeah, don't... What are you doing? He says, I've just remembered I've still got 2 more presents to wrap. Anyway, cool, let's move on away from Christmas and how rubbish I am at it. So lately, I've been painting my 15mm mouse. I'm really, really happy with this. Look at those really crisp lines. It's the first time I've really done anything with masking with my airbrush. So excited, I haven't got any breath left. The tape, however, has left a little bit of damage here and there. And, oh, excuse me, I'm not so fussed about it. It's going to be an easy repair job. I've got a little bit of damage here. We've got a new subscriber to the show. That's just come along. 101 Sappy Sid. Thank you so much for subscribing. That has made my day. That is Merry Christmas. Do you know what? It's too hot to drink, but cheers. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you very much. Well, that tastes like fiery assault to my taste buds. Thanks, mate. Got a little bit of damage here and here. I've also got like this tiny little bit of leak from when I put the tape on, and there must have been like a little bit of, I don't know, you know when the tape's kind of lifted up a little bit and the paint just kind of ran in there. A little bit annoying, especially when the rest of it's so clean, but yeah, whatever, I can neaten that up, no trouble at all. There's a tiny little bit of damage on the corner here and that corner there. That's just where I've been handling it, despite me spraying it with varnish a couple of times. What is a little bit annoying is I've got a little bit of overspray. In fact, in some places it's quite heavy, and I just didn't anticipate my airbrush to be spraying that far, but it just goes to show you how effective an airbrush is, right? Even though it was all taped off, there was this little bit at the top here, little bits on the side with a little bit of overspray. It's only really, really bad on the top here, on top of the turret, and you can see it there, can't you, right in the middle. Look. I'm going to try and I'm going to paint over that, basically. In the rest of the places, I'm not really so fussed, and I'm hoping that with a nice filter, a nice little wash in a minute, that it's going to calm all that down. You won't be able to see it. However, I've got a couple of other things to do as well. I've got a couple more red stripes to put on there that I wasn't able to do it last time because there was so much masking going on. I'm going to put another red line here, I think, and I'm going to put another one on the front of this green stripe on the cannon, just there. I also would like to do a little something on the back of the turret. And on the back of the tank itself, that's going to be pretty difficult because this is in the way. So I might just leave that for the fun of it and hope that whatever I do on the back kind of gives the back enough colour and, kind of colour support. I'm just trying to, I'm making up words now, but you know what I mean? It bring enough gravitas to the whole model. All of this pattern, this whole design was inspired by a picture that my dad, Jeff, who was unable to join us this evening because it's Christmas and he's going around visiting people, he saw a picture on Pinterest and he sent it over to me during the last show, and I was like, I want to do that. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've cited the original post on the Facebook thing, so if you're interested in having a look at that, head on over to Facebook now because it's a really, really good post. It is just a beautiful 1/35th model and it's done really, really well, and I have copied it line for line exactly. So yeah, it's a dead rip-off, but I just liked it and I wanted to do it. There is no camouflage on the top pieces of it because I suppose if you can see it from above, you don't necessarily need camouflage. It's huge. This tank is enormous. It's the size of a small house. I've actually got a couple of other little tanks. I've got some little M3 Stuarts, and you can actually fit 4 of them inside the silhouette like a parking bay. It's an immense thing. So yeah, I've got to do some extra stripes. Got to do a wash and neaten it all up, repair the damage, finish off the tracks. You can see the underside painted, on the top on the inside not painted. That's the lengthiest thing. I was hoping that I would have some Balkenkreuz, the German cross, and some little numbers or whatever. I thought I had a packet or 2 of them. I bought them from Overlord Games. That was an unscripted plug for Overlord there. but I only bought Americans from him. So at the end of this show, I'm going to be heading on over to the web store for Overlord games, as you should do too, and I'm going to buy some. Hopefully he's got some in stock. Maybe they will tell me that now. Also, Overlord have got a deal on at the moment, but more on that later on, unless Overlord start talking about it in the live chat, and you're perfectly allowed to, so please do that. They do have a deal on Overlord that is available until the 23rd of December, so till the end of the day tomorrow. The day tomorrow, yeah, cool. So if you are new here, I get very excited because I love this, and sometimes I can't talk straight. There we go. Loads of comments going in. What have we got here? Hey, it's early for me, says Stafford. Yeah, okay, fair. Do you know, normally in my ADHD crisis of December, I don't normally buy anything until about now, so yeah, I feel your pain. What games does everyone play? We spoke about what I play loads. I'll let you guys have a chat about that, but Battletech and 40k mostly, says Kez. What Tanker and Gaslands? Yeah, they're good games. Don't play, I just paint and model, says Plastic Monkey. That's cool, yeah. And this is also the place for you. Gamers, modelers, or just enthusiasts, whatever. Merry Christmas to you, 101 Sappy Sid. Do you know, I'm so happy that we've got extra names coming in. I did say that if we can make it to 150 subscribers before the end of the year, I will clean out my palette. And just for those of you that haven't seen it before, I don't find this offensive, but other people do. Watch Stafford's reaction. It's got reference on it. It's got texture on it. Why would I want to change that? I haven't cleaned that since like the first year of going live on Easy 8. Anyway, okay. I can't remember if I hit this with a layer of varnish the last time I did this. So I'm going to do a couple of little repair spots on it, and then I'm going to give it a layer of varnish to protect those. And then I'm going to tape up and do those lines, and then it's the wash, right? There's one more thing that I don't quite like about this. Between these two lines here on the bottom part of this chevron, you might be, if I bring it in close, I've got my autofocus off because it was winding me up in review, but you can see that there's a yellow line between the two where I didn't quite match them up. So yeah, I might try and fill that in a minute. If I'm doing red, I might as well do the red on it rather than get another colour out, but yeah, shameless plug. You're welcome. Cool. Okay, so what am I going to do? First things first, let's get some yellow paint. I haven't even got anything ready here. So the paints that I've been using on this one, even though it is a small build, are the modulation sets from AK Interactive. I love AK Interactive. They make some really good quality paints. They also make some really, really decent ranges in their colours. I could sit here and talk about what this particular modulation set's all about all night, but I've been doing that for a little while, so I'll talk about it in another video. You can see some overspray here as well on the top, but the turret's going to cover that because the turret is about the same size as my house. I think you'll need to buy a new one, says Kez. I'm not going to do it, mate. Yuck, just yuck. It's reference. You can't have a clean palette. Right, Staff, you know what? You know what's going to happen? Gonna give you a chance. Always shake your paints, always mix your paints. I have been thinking about getting some little mixer balls to put in all of my paint pots, but I've got like 200 plus paints here. So it's a lot of balls, it's a lot of time, and frankly, if I'm gonna spend that much time doing stuff in the studio, I'm gonna be painting. Right. Always shake your paints, always mix them up, and I like to put them on the Easy 8 Waz-O-Matic. Give it a Waz. Vortex mixer. It's just a cheap one. The cable's not long enough, you can't see it. Waz it, there he is. Waz. I personally don't think you should fill it in and paint chip damage rather than to match the colour. Are you talking about the little yellow line between the two chevrons? Is that what you're talking about? Right. Let's get away from that. It's a stupid word, wow, isn't it? Come on. I'm not going to use the airbrush for this. I'm going to just touch it up with a brush. So I'm just going to put a little drop of that on the palette there, and hopefully I can brush this in. Just a little brush here, just my little number 0. Now these paints are formulated for the airbrush, but you can use airbrush paints on your normal brush. So hopefully they don't go on too thin. They are going on pretty thin. I might have to do a couple of coats. That's fine. It doesn't matter if the colour doesn't match, because I have been using the modulation set, trying to get some like tonal differences, etc., just because it's such a big model, even though it is only 15mm, I thought it would be nice to do it. Yeah, the colours, the hues might be different, and you might be able to see this patch, but I thought that having a slightly different version of yellow would be better than grey or primer white, you know. And it does seem to be covering quite well, despite it being a thin paint. And I'm trying to avoid brush strokes, so I'm just kind of like dabbing it on, and that is literally just in an attempt to keep it a little bit thicker, because if I brush it on, it's well, you're wiping it, aren't you? You're smearing it, so yeah, I'm not doing that because I'm on the clock tonight. That's actually done a pretty good job, to be fair. I'm happy with that. I'll come back and do the corners in a minute. That's just from handling it. Can I get this little bit here? Can I? I'm trying to be careful not to wipe off the bit I've just painted. Now I use mostly airbrush paints, even in brush, but they're not so good for doing detail bits because they're not very thick, which is exactly the point of them. But because they're not very thick, they don't like hold a point in the brush very well. Now when you get a point on your brush, you'll obviously try and create a point by licking it or whatever, but then you're relying on the viscosity of the paint to kind of hold that shape as you're painting. But airbrush paints are very milky in their viscosity, so they're not very good at like holding that shape. So depending on what you're doing, may or may not be good for you. Now you can, I can see those patches, but it's not that bad. It's okay. With a wash over the top, it should hide it even more. And for the games that I play with these 15mm tanks, no one cares. It's fine. Do dry pretty quickly. I'm just going to come over here because this area over here is so big. I'm just going to see what happens if I just hit it with one more layer here. I don't want to be agitating the layer I've just done and pulling it straight off again. There we go. Do this one as well. Why not? Okay. There we go. I'm done on this one here. There's no real damage. There's a little bit of damage on the colours there, but at this point, okay. Now I could, with this overspray here, I could get the airbrush and try and soften that down with the airbrush, but I'm just going to go for it, man. Now I did use a lighter tone of the yellow on the top of this tank. So I'm just going to cover up the most of these oversprays with this darker colour, and then I'll come back in a second with the lighter one. There we go. Simple as that. There is a little bit of overspray on the side there actually. Let me come back to that. A little line here, like a little triangle. Cover up the redness of the colour, and I'm going to come back in with the lighter yellows. Now I say lighter yellows, for those of you who don't know, the modulation sets, they're basically different brightnesses or luminosities, I think is the correct term, of the same hue, the same colour. So this is all Dunkelgelb. Base is the kind of the middle, the actual colour, Dunkelgelb, dark yellow in German. It goes into dark base, so a slightly darker tone of that colour, and I also have light base, so a lighter and darker of either side. Then it goes all the way down to a shadow, which you can see is vastly different. Is a shadowy colour. It is a brown, but browns are of the same vein of yellows and oranges. I could talk hours on that, so I'm not going. I've got a highlight, which you can see here is a very, very bright colour, and then all the way up to shine, which is almost white, but it is a yellow hued white. And I wouldn't use those extremes on this scale because it's just too much. Less is more. My paints keep falling around. Stay there. Thank you so much. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to boot up the old airbrush there, so that in a minute I can start using that as well. Now, Kez, you were saying don't bother doing the line between the two. Was that what you were saying? Yes, and chip damage where the paint's come off. Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, yeah, I could do that. I wasn't going to do damage on it. The reason I wasn't going to do damage on this one is because the mouse wasn't a tank in reality. It was only ever really a prototype. They made two. They never saw combat. They were found by the Americans and by, I'm sure it was the Americans and by the Russians, so that they never saw combat. One was destroyed and then one was kind of butchered and taken back into a museum, and it sits there now in Russia somewhere. They would have used them if the war had continued. But the idea is that you don't play with this in the games that I play, and it's just a nice kind of piece to fight around, you know, as an extra bit of terrain. Maybe you're going to do a fight in a, in a factory or something. It's just a cool thing to have. It was bought for me as a gift, so yeah, I wanted to paint it up because it's just been sat in a box being grey. More comments going in. It's a good idea, says Overlord. Is that pronounced Donkey Gelby? If you're a country bumpkin like me, then yes. Yes. TTT. Right. What did I want to do next? I wanted to get some tape on here. I'm going to mask off a red line. Now, I don't necessarily have to match up the line on the edge of the green on the cannon. It's going to be difficult to try and do that around the cylindrical shape of the cannon, especially as it tapers ever so slightly, especially if you've got the coax machine gun here. I say a coax machine gun, I think that is actually a small cannon. Crazy, right? As long as I tape it near enough to it when I spray it, I'll just spray over the green, but I've got to make sure that the other end is right. So I've got some tape here that was kindly donated by Kez. Thank you so much, Kez. As you can tell, last week I had a great time doing it. Just going to be careful about not putting my thumb all over that bit that I've just put on. This is the tricky bit, where I go really quiet, put my tongue out. Now I don't mind if I go over the green a little bit, but I don't want to leave a gap like I already have done somewhere else on the tank. Something like that. And that will do quite nicely. Excellent. Cool. Let's get another piece of tape. Oh, Darren's got to go. Bye, Darren. Have a lovely Christmas, sir. I hope you have a wonderful time. And if I don't speak to you or see you beforehand, have a lovely New Year as well. Thank you very much for coming along, even for the short period of time. All the best to you, chap. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. I'm going to put this one about here. And I'm just going to make sure that where they join up, the two sides, that there's no gap in there. I might even have to cut them off later on, but that's fine. And that is where the red line is going to go on there. The other red line is going to go on the front over here. So I'm going to get some more tape here now. And I'm going to try and match it up as close as I can to the edge of the existing green line. Let me know if the lack of autofocus is bothering you. I'll say I've turned it off today, because I often review the videos after I've done a live show, and if it's bothering you, like it was bothering me, cool. But if you like the autofocus, then I'll put it back on for you. Just a simple click of a button. Just means I've got to keep it down here so it stays in focus for you. But if I bring it up here, it goes out of focus. But if I moving around, autofocus tracks it, but it does its own thing sometimes, and it just gets right on my wick. Right. So now I'm gonna put a bit of tape across the front of the mountlet here. Now this might take a couple of sticky bits. Oh, look at that, I've ruined it already. I've got to get it across the front of the mantlet here to stop any sort of overspray. It's just a little bit fingers and thumbs, as you can see. So if I did that, that's pretty good. That's a good fit. Hangs over a little bit at the bottom, but as long as I don't push that up, it's not going to be a problem. I just need a little bit at the top up here because there's a little bit sticking out, and that will show up, and it'll do my chebs in. Do my chebs in. Sorry, that's a word that sounds like it should be a word that is from a colleague at work. Do my chebs in. I don't even know what it means. I tried to keep this a family-friendly show, but I might have just ruined that. Okay. Now, those of you from last week remember that overspray is a dramatic thing, so it's really important to make sure that I cover up all the surrounding area. Now, my dad last week was saying in the live chat, that's Jeff for those of you that remember him, said that I should use post-it notes. He's absolutely right. I could tape off with post-it notes. I just couldn't find any in the house, and I remembered only too late. Now I have just put like a load of paint down there, and I've just put this tape across the top. Probably going to pull it off, right? So I'm just trying to make sure that I don't. Yeah. Just trying not to go crazy, ruin what I've done. Maybe one more. I was incorrect. There'll need to be another one. That'll be fine, right? Because all I've got to do is spray at this angle. I'm going to be careful about being over here, but I'll try to keep it close. Right. I hear what you're saying, Kez, but there's a part of me that wants to do it. there's a part of me that wants to do it. Out of This World Models and Middies has joined us. Hello, Merry Christmas, or whatever you want to say. Hi, John. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got loads of new subscribers in the live chat today, John. For those of you who don't know who John is, you should definitely go and check out a link to his channel that's down there in the description. John is all the way over from the States on the other side of the Great Atlantic Pond and has an amazing channel where he just paints whatever he wants to paint. And it's great to see you again, John. I hope you're doing well. I understand that you've got your kids with you for the festive season. Hi, kids. Right. Kez, I see what you're saying. I just want to do it. Kez, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to regret it, right? I'm going to regret it. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to meet you halfway. I'm going to tape it off, and I'm going to do it by brush. That seems like a fair thing to do, right? That seems like a fair thing. Okay. Got me airbrush. Didn't clean it out. There's a switch. This is because I was too busy talking to Overlord last week on the after 8 party. After 8 party. Why am I calling it that? The after party. After 8 mints. That's where I'm getting it from, isn't it? This is ridiculous. We've got all these new people that have joined me today. I can't even say anything right. Just going to give it a quick clean off on the needle. That's all I'm going to do. I've got some neat cleaner here. Just keep it a little pipette bottle thingy. And I just pipe a little bit onto a cotton ball. What's important is I do it right over the top of my miniature so that when I spray this everywhere it runs all the paint. Hey man, like I said, I'm not a pro. I'm just a doofus with an airbrush. Don't blame me for the lack of maintenance. Or don't blame me for the lack of maintenance. Dude, your conversation was thoroughly enjoyable. Take ownership. that'll be enough for now, and I'll give it a proper rinse out later on. If you're coming on to the after party, remind me. Thank you very much. Do you know what, actually? It was totally your fault that I didn't get an adult juice, and I didn't clean out my airbrush. We had a good old chin wag, right? We had a good old chin wag. Make sure that I can see through there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's fine. It's enough for doing the small amount of work that I've got to do today. Excellent. I'll just hit it with a drop or two of this, because why not? Throw it across the table. There we go. Okay, I actually have a limited amount of flow, but I suppose when I'm trying to do delicate stuff, that's going to be a good thing. Right, I was using the dark red shadow. It's called red brown shadow. I only want a little bit. Just a couple of drops in the airbrush. And I'll probably have to stick it in the sonic bath later on. Okay, look, I've got a good enough flow coming out the end there to do what I need to do. So, the first thing I'm going to do is the stripe on the front of the cannon. Bit heavy there, but never mind. Hit it with a bit of cold air, just to kind of agitate and dry that first layer. Make sure I got a bit more flow. Good. Back on a bit more colour, a bit more air. On that stripe on the cannon. There we go. Just take it bit by bit. Bit of air, bit of colour, bit of air, bit of colour. Tape just at the bottom there is just peeled over. It's probably going to leave a little bit of a shape, but just gently peel that away. There we go, that's cool. Glad I noticed that. That would have bugged me. You can tell I'm concentrating, can't you? Because I'm not saying a word. So John at Out of This World Models and Minis says, so my son has been helping painting Mortarion. I'm helping him with those wings. That's a big model. I'd be really excited to see that. Do take a picture and stick it up on Facebook for us to have a look at, John. That's an incredible build. Best of luck for you. We know when we collaborated and did Gazgul for October that actually the bigger models that look intimidating, once you get stuck into them, are actually just really exciting. So good for you. I think I'm done on those two bits there, so that's good. I'll just leave the airbrush over there for a second, where naturally I'll forget about it and then it'll jam up and I'll have to clean it again. But you know, that's my life. Right, let's do this bit by brush. So just like I did with the yellow, just going to put a drop on the palette over here. That absolutely doesn't need cleaning. I'm just going to dab it in, basically. Other side. Very, very watery. Maybe it just needs a bit more of a shake. Perhaps it needs a waz. Might just be a watery paint. I've not used these by brush before. I usually use them on my 135th builds. So it might just be that this colour is just particularly watery and I'll have to do a couple of coats. I don't mind that, it's just obviously going to take a bit longer, isn't it? And it is just a watery paint. Okay, cool, right. Okay, I'm going to go back to the yellows. I want to use a slightly lighter, or was it darker? I can't remember now. If I go back to the damaged bits over here, I've got a darker bit down there. That one's okay, and lighter on top, so I want a bit of both. Let's start with the darker one. Just going to go to the Dunkelgelb dark base. Waz. If anyone's interested, John bought himself a Waz and stuck googly eyes on it. It's brilliant. Proper made me chuckle, that video. Okay. This is all a little bit of a boring task at the moment, just kind of getting all this done, but it sort of needs to be done. Otherwise I'll just have this, you know, pretty unsatisfactory build at the end with just bits missing all over it. So yeah, got to do it. I'll do the light bit in a minute on the turret once I take all the tape off. Just going to let that sit and dry just for a second. I'm going to definitely come back and do a couple of coats of the red. So yeah, going to think about doing pattern on the back. Like I say, I was going to do a pattern on the back of the hull, but it's just a tough area to tape off and do it quickly. If it was a bigger build, then yeah, I would spend time. I probably wouldn't even glue the drum on the back. I would do it, do the pattern on there first. So I'm not going to bother. Like I say, it's just not that big a deal with this particular model. But I would like to do a little chevron on the back here. So I might just do a couple of lines. So we'll have to get the green out. Stupid. Christulus has joined us. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hello, Christulus. Thank you very much for taking my live view count up to double figures. That's great. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you again. What are you working on this evening? Are you working on anything this evening? What I'm going to do is a little line here. Get another piece of tape. Now, connoisseurs will notice that I am absolutely rushing this. I do actually take my time with bigger, more serious builds. But it's just a fun little game. What's the record number of viewers with Easy 8? That's a slightly open question. Live views, we've had somewhere about 12, I think. But total views, we're well into the hundreds. We do actually have quite a few viewers from the US, John notwithstanding. And yeah, so we get a lot of views that come like in the next few days. People watching back later on. That also coincides with a lot of the communication and photos and things that go on Facebook. Which is why I was recently canvassing on local Facebook groups. Absolutely fine that I've got a US contingent in my audience. I welcome that. But you know, it's nice to have a local touch as well, isn't it? So that's what it's all about. I would absolutely love to make a games club. That is what me and Overlord were talking about last week, is to have some sort of a presence in the world of gaming. How we do that is very much a hot topic and is under discussion. But, you know, to start anything like that, you've got to have an existing community. So, yeah, we're just waiting for more and more people to kind of join Easy 8. So please do. Not just subscribe, but tell a friend, tell your family, make a poster, stick it up at work, you know, scream it in the street, whatever you need to do. Get a tattoo. Don't get a tattoo, that'd be stupid. Right, I'm gonna do a red line here, I think. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Because I've got red paint already. So here we go. This is where I ruin everything, right? Now, there might be some people who really know their stuff with German armour from World War II, might be looking at this camo pattern going, well, this is a not the usual camo type. You're absolutely correct. It is the picture that I saw, that I was inspired by, was someone who was playing around with camo types that were mainly seen on the sides of battleships. And because the mouse is such a big tank, it kind of inspired the original artist to play around with those designs. I just liked it. I thought it was very different, and it inspired me to do my own. So that's why I'm doing this design, and I like it. So yeah, there we go. I think I'm done with that colour. Excellent. I'm going to get some water, just flush that out. It's going on longer than I thought it was going to. I guess there's a slight blockage in my airbrush. There we go. Right. Back to the little red bit on the side down here. Just another touch of that. The paint should have congealed ever so slightly on the palette. It has done. That means a slightly thicker application going on. So hopefully it'll cover up the atrocity. And I'm happy with that. That's fine. That's okay. We'll barely see it. Stafford knows the town crier of Chumley. Should get in touch. I also know him. There you go. I believe 10 is the highest watching. No, it is well into the double figures. I say well into the double figures. That makes it sound like it's going to be like 50 or so, doesn't it? No, we've been somewhere around about 10 to 13. Sorry, 12 to 13 before. But that was a long time ago. It's a very niche product here on Easy 8. It's not for everybody. I get it. It's cool. Okay. So I'm happy with everything on there. I'm just going to let that dry. I want to come back now and attack the colours with a lighter yellow on the top of the turret here. Okay, I'm going to pull that bit off for sure. Why not? That was an accident. Okay, let's do this bit now. I'm all very things and thumbs at the moment, just because there's so much going on there. Nope, that's the darker colour. Oh my goodness. Got so many colours going on right now. Dunkelgelb, light base. And this is literally now just to blend in that stain on the top up there. Just here, there's a little bit of a triangle on the side, so I'm just going to try and blend those out a little. Now this is a very light colour. It might look a bit of an eyesore. Yeah, I thought it might. I might have to kind of mix it in as I go. It stands out a little bit more over here because the overspray is still there. I'm mixing a little bit of the original colour. Stand a big chance of kind of ruining it a little bit, but you know, whatever. Could all be recovered by a quick overspray, which I might do if I don't like it in the end. That's a little bit better. Yeah, once it's all done and on top of the model, I could just come over and, you know, give it a quick airbrush in. Just going to hit that with some air, just to help agitate and dry that now, so I can take those bits of tape off, and then I'll just give the whole thing a quick once over with some varnish. I'm going to have to get some varnish on that stripe on the back, because I'm going to do a green line, and I want to make sure that I cover over that red line that I've just done on there. I see Plastic Monkey is saying, where's everyone from? Myself, I'm from North Devon in a little town called Biddyford. That's as close as an address I'm going to give you for my own protection on the internet. Bit of an A-list celebrity. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to do it. Here it goes. A little bit of run over down the bottom there, but yeah, whatever. Better than it was. What happens if I hit it with a little bit of water? Oh, it's cleaned up perfectly. There we go. Cool. Right. Get rid of these little bits here so I can get a layer of varnish on it before the intermission. Give me something pokier than that. Got a little needle here somewhere. Nice and gentle. Ooh, crisp line. That's dead sexy. I apologise for my accent. That was unnecessary. We've got someone from Somerset. We've got someone from near Linton. We've got good evening, time zone, or Table of Horrors, another new member to the live chat. Thanks very much for coming along. Nice to see some fresh names in there. Welcome, Table of Horrors, and the rest of you, or any of the others that might be watching who aren't talking in the live chat. Thank you very much for coming along and seeing what Easy 8's all about. I genuinely hope you will find a little bit of entertainment or just company while you're doing what it is that you're doing. Easy 8 was all started during the COVID pandemic as just a means of kind of bringing people together, and for me to try and another hobby to make me do another hobby. That surely makes sense, right? And I was going to stop coming out of lockdown, I was going to stop doing it because it takes effort and time to do all this sort of stuff, and money now, you know. But people were phoning in, like I got a hotline. People were sending me messages saying like, please don't, like, and citing mental health, and that's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. So more than happy to keep it going. So I genuinely do hope that you guys find some fun here, or just make some new friends. You know, maybe you're a pro. Maybe you can like teach the rest of us something. Because as you've already seen, I am not. I just do it for the fun. I originally got into miniature painting through my dad, who normally is in the live chat, who owns his own company, has done for years and years, and is a very, very talented artist. Makes terrain, etc. So naturally, like all my friends at school, I got into Warhammer 40,000, and then from there into historical stuff as well. So yeah, that was a long time ago. Safe to say that I'm a hobbyist, right? But I'm not a pro at all. There are people out there way better than me. Last little bit of tape here. Come on. Cut that little bit off there. Stop it, Dave. Always fun and informative. Oxford says, Table of Horrors, UK here, only recently moved back from Japan. Saw a few of your VODs. Glad to have caught you live. Well, all the way from Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan. Thank you very much for making the effort to come and see me live. I will always, always be here. Lush. Right, so I've got one more green line to do, but before I do green lines, I'm going to have to hit it with some varnish because it's making me feel quite nervous, the amount of delicate paintwork that's on there. So currently redoing a lead 40k apothecary when I played 2nd edition. Wow, a lead one, like proper lead, or are we talking white metal pewter? I started playing 40k in 93, 94, so just into 2nd edition really. I know that we got a couple of hardcore road trader enthusiasts in the group. I'm all about the 40k. That's my, as Henry Cavill would say, that's my jam. I just love the rich lore that's come along with it. It's its own universe now. It's you have to give it that credit, don't you? It's an incredible thing, and I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. There's a lot of like hardline historical enthusiasts in the community, and that's cool too, man. Like, I love history. Just watched last week's show. I talk enough about it. John called me out from Out of This World Models and Minis. He called me out in the comments last week. Wow, we got extra time. I got very excited talking about all the things that I've learned. Doing historical painting has taught me stuff, and I think that's so valuable. That's like learning outside the classroom, which is something that I do as a career, by the way. Like, learning outside of any kind of in-classroom environment is an incredible thing. People rarely take information in, that kind of sit-down thing. So if you can find another medium where you learn stuff, brilliant. I've definitely run out of varnish there. I think the reason that I was struggling with the tape and the damages on the corners of this model from last week is because I was thinning the varnish down. It makes it easier to clean, frankly, from the airbrush, and it does make it last a little bit longer when you're spraying, especially continuous or sustained work. But I think it just went on too thin, so it wasn't doing that protective thing that I needed to do. And I think, John, that might have been, now that I'm thinking about it, and it's only now that I'm saying it out loud that makes me think of it, that might have been the problem I had with the Gazgol build back in October. It's important I don't just get the camouflage bits as well, prevent any more damage to the yellow colour. I get a layer on there, but it is thick and I've got an already blocked up airbrush, so it is struggling to come through the airbrush at the moment. just going to take my little needle protector off the end so that I can give the needle tipper a clean. That's better. Okay. Now, if your piece isn't a War Games piece, you don't necessarily need to be doing all this heavy-duty protecting, because War Games pieces, just like diorama pieces or just display pieces, they're not really handled, so you don't really come in at them with all the varnishes. But these little miniatures, they get handled a lot. Me and my little group of gamers play this game a lot. They get put away into a box quite roughly. They just become counters on the table, so they need a lot of protecting, and I am going very, very heavy with it right now. It's on the back here that I want loads of protection, because I'm about to stick a piece of tape all over it. And we're getting pretty much ready for a quick intermission. Just going to put some cleaner through there. That's my needle protector. A little purge tank here. I'm just going to put a couple of drops of this stuff in. So important to keep your airbrush clean. Don't do as I do. Alright? Do as I say. Clean your airbrush. Couple more comments. Overlord says, I'd love to see a picture of that. Reference to the lead apothecary. Yeah, absolutely. Would love to see that. Proper lead. I also recently did a Rogue Trader edition Terminator Captain. Yeah, photos please. Put them up on Facebook. I would love to see that. If anyone's interested, you don't know already, we've got loads of platforms that we're on. Just down there in the comments, I keep calling it comments, the description of this video, all the links to all of our platforms. Facebook is a really active one, so head over there. Table of Horrors, proper lead. Yep, read that one. I think second editions still use lead. They did, but they moved from lead into white metal pretty early, from what I remember, because I remember getting the white metal Dreadnought and the white metal Land Speeder. So there must have been lead at some point, but I was playing fairly early into second edition, so yeah. I remember being very confused as a child as what the difference was between lead and white metal, because they both look the same to me. I got pics on Insta, but I don't do the Book of Face. That's fine, cool. Do you know what? Send us a link in the live chat or in the comment. Put it in the comments down there, because it will help the algorithm. All hail the algorithm. And it means that we can come over and have a look and share some love on your Instagram account. That'd be great, if you want to, of course. Right, I need some green. I have my greens here. Olive Green Shadow, or Sardo, because it's spelled wrong on this bottle, which is not focusing because I don't have autofocus on today. Is that better, having the autofocus on or off? You tell me. It's your show. Right, some tape. And some green. But do you know what? Let's go and have a break first, shall we? Let's get out of this crazy place. So, for those of you that are new, halfway through the show, we'll just take a little 10-minute break. I'll play you some jazz. You can go and do whatever it is. I'll probably sit here, carry on, just trying to catch up, because I do want to get this done this evening. And while it is all very achievable, I have a penchant for taking a very long time over the simplest of things. So I'm going to sit here and get this masked off, I think, and get that green line on there. That green line is going to go on this side just here. And then I'll give it another layer of varnish, and then it's time to go in with some wash. And all I'm going to do is use Agrax Earthshade. That's from Citadel. I'm not going to sludge wash it, but I'm going to cover the whole thing more as a filter than anything. Try and get some of those recessed details out. Don't want to make it necessarily look grimy. Like I say, I want it almost factory build, really. And then that'll just enhance some of the details, and to further enhance those details when that is dry, I'm going to hit it with a dry brush. The dry brush has got me a little bit worried because I've got to do 3 colours essentially, but I do have highlights for all 3 colours. It's just going to take a little bit extra. And I don't have those decals today, so that will be the end of this build. Well, tracks. I'm going to be doing this into the evening, aren't I? Let's face it. Cool, whatever. Anyway, I'll see you in a minute. Go clean your paint water. See ya! welcome back. I'm loving the amount of subscribers. It really has made my Christmas. Thank you so much. I hope you had a good break. I've done exactly as I promised. I've just done that little green banding there. The live chat's been carrying on. Talk about lead minis tasting better than white metal. Yeah, sure. I don't know how I feel about promoting that. But you're right though, right? And they were really chewy as well. So yeah, all my camouflaging is now completed on this model. So what I've got to do now, I've just been applying some varnish over the top of it, all to protect it. I'm going to start applying my Agrax Earth shade, so I can start washing that down, bringing those details out, and then getting ready for the dry brush. I'm going to keep that dry brush as quick as I can. I am worried about the drying times to try and get the project finished today. So I'm going to start by doing the hull. That means I can then move on and do the turret, and then hopefully the hull will be dry so I can come back and finish off the tracks. And I've got an hour or less now to do that in 45 minutes roughly. So if I don't finish it in that time, you can of course come and join me at the Easy 8 after party on Discord. Link to that platform just down there in the description. Of course, you can always carry on the conversation, over on Facebook as well. Links to all of our platforms are just down there too. If you are new here or you just haven't got around to it and you like what we do and you fancy doing it, please do consider subscribing. Every subscriber obviously goes a long way to making the community grow. The more subscribers, the more comments, the more thumbs up, the more shares, everything like that helps the community grow, and that's essentially what we want to do, is kind of make this show for everybody. All hail the algorithm. So yeah, please do subscribe if you like it, or just subscribe even if you don't, because it's a nice thing to do. It's Christmas. Thanks. Anyway, back to the workbench. Don't talk during your transitions, Danny. I'm getting excited again. Try and make it professional, yeah? Right, so I'm going to move away from airbrushing just for the moment, so let's get rid of that sheet there. So what I'm going to do now is, actually first things first, so I'm going to enlarge my screen so I can actually see what it is that I'm showing you guys. So I'm going to start washing them down. So Agrax Earth shade, give it a little bit of a shake, but it is a wash, so it will still have pigment in it, which is why I like to shake it. There's no need to go crazy with it. Some of them go really foamy. I think it's like the Reichland Fresh shade. I don't know, put my teeth back in. It goes like really foamy, but this one's actually a really nice pigment. It's a really nice colour and it behaves really well. I am, however, quite nervous about putting this all over this miniature. So I've got a little metal palette just on standby here in case I need to like thin it down, because it could ruin it all. So I'm going to start on the engine vents here, because if this goes on too thick, too dark, and I can't correct it, it's a good place to have it thick and dark, right? So let's just get that on there. Now, it will look like that to start with, but of course I've got to start moving it around a little bit, and the more that I move it around and thin it out, the better. Let's go down the back there. I probably will need to thin it down. I don't want to add much water, because if I did add water, it will break the surface tension, and it means that it won't create so much of a filter. And a filter is really what I'm looking for here. I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking it is a little too heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a load of this added into this little palette on the side. I'm just going to add a drop of thinner or two. Always clean the brush out in the middle. Where's my thinner, please? Thinner, thinner, thinner. There it is, behind my coffee. Coffee? Behind my tea. Sorry, John. I'm British, I've got to have my tea. There we go, one drop of that should help make that a little bit easier to apply. If not, I'm just going to go straight in with the water. Straight onto the vents over here again, the engine vents. Sort of done the trick. I might need to move to water. Let's see what a little drop of water does to the stuff that I've already put on. Helps move it around a little bit. Now it's going to look really, really heavy to start with. That's fine. Obviously, I need to move it around. It's a little bit better, isn't it? It's going to look a little messy to start with. Trust the process, though, right? Trust the process. Coffee sounds like a good idea. Anyone else want one while I'm up? Do you know what? Like, I am a tea drinker, but I will drink coffee. Yeah, I'll totally go for one. Why not? What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a drop of water and a drop of thinner. Let's go crazy. Let's do this. Let's make this party go wild. Oh, Cavalier. Here's Christmas after all. What I'm trying to avoid is what you can see at the back starting to form there, and that is like build up or drops, runs, anything like that. No one likes the runs. Who saw the Battlefront Christmas video? I didn't see a Battlefront Christmas video. A link, please. Put it on over Facebook. That'd be great. See how that starts to go all gloopy, it starts to run. Yeah, it's that sort of thing that I'm trying to avoid. Don't mind it so much. But when you start getting big runs, like there's a point between weathering and, you know, gross. Okay, what I'm going to do now is come in with a clean brush, slightly moist. It's a horrible thing to say, isn't it? I just clean up those droplets there. Just kind of pick up any of the runny bits. And I'm just constantly dabbing it off onto a paper towel at the same time, and that is just to clean the brush out. Trying to do it quite quickly before the paint starts to set. It won't dry fully, but it will start to congeal and it will make a difference. And having some sort of weird marks and artifacting is absolutely fine, because that'll just lend to the sort of the mild weathering that I'm looking for. Just turn my compressor off, it's going crazy in the background. But I don't want it to be over weathered. I want this tank to be, like I say, it's been sat there for a little while in the factory perhaps. Just long enough for the Allies or the Russians or whoever it is. I suppose they were Allies to a degree, weren't they? For them to come along and find it. But it wouldn't have been out, you know, on the battlefield at all. I suppose you could play a game where it got out there, but I play mostly What a Tanker at the moment. And the rules for this tank aren't in that game because it was only a prototype. But I was talking to Overlord Games last week on Discord, talking about Flames of War, which is one of the games that Overlord stock a lot of, and I have acquired through Overlord a copy of the rules for Flames of War. Sorry, I was concentrating and trying to paint at the same time. So yeah, looking forward to kind of getting my teeth stuck into that game. Now, we did mention earlier on briefly that Overlord have got a deal on at the moment. Overlord, perhaps you could just type into the live chat, what is your current deal at the moment? That is until the end of tomorrow. If you wanted to get anything through Overlord, there is I will put a link at the end of this video, but perhaps they'll put one in the live chat right for you now. But I believe it's a percentage off. Can't quite remember what it was. You should head over to Overlord anyway. Lots of good deals on over there at the moment. That's looking pretty cool, isn't it? Just get rid of some of those droplet shapes. a little bit. I'll do the underside in a minute just for the sake of consistency. Now for the turret, I'll do the cannon in a little bit because obviously I've got to hold something. Drop of thinner, I put 2 in there because I put a bit more paint in there this time. A couple of drops of water. Mix that in. I bet Overlord are typing in now all their details. I'm sorry Overlord, I just forgot what it was. It was earlier on that I read it and I was busy during the intermission and I totally forgot what the deal was. And I want to make sure that we get it right because I don't want people coming in thinking that they're going to get something and you're not doing it. It will be my fault. This is looking really good. I like the fact that it's blending all these colours together. This is what I like to call a unifying wash. It is a wash that does several things for the model. One of them is it shows off all of the recessed details. It normally hides a multitude of sins, so little errors and things that I've made along the way, and it also blends all the colours together and stops anything from being too bright. It kind of brings everything back into the into the same range. If you've got something on there that's like really, really bright or stands out a lot, or even like something stands out a bit too dark because the rest of the colours might be brighter, it helps unify everything, brings everything into the same sort of realm. That's exactly what this colour is doing for me here. And like also is being like a little bit of a weathering aid at the same time. I'm trying to prevent that a little bit, obviously. It's actually not looking too bad. A little bit easier to do than the hull because there's less of it. But we can see how already that overspray area that I was looking at earlier on, and as long as I've matched the colours in somewhere nearby, you can't even tell. So that's why I don't have a problem with what I had there earlier on. Now, obviously I've got to consider doing the cannon in a minute, so I'm just going to sort of leave him sitting here on the side, come back to the side of the tank over here, the hull of the tank, looking at the side, seeing if there's a side that's dry. There isn't quite yet, so I'm just going to give him a little blast of air. The reason I'm going to do that is hopefully it will just dry him out and then I can move on to painting the tracks. Long enough for the whole thing to dry properly, where I can start doing dry brushing. So all I'm going to do is just going to move that over there because that's just going to blow around everywhere. And all I'm going to do is just sit here and agitate it with a little bit of air from here. Now, if I'd thought about this properly, I would absolutely have got my partner's hairdryer. But often I bring it up and I leave it up here at the end of the night and I forget about it, and like the next day my partner's like, where's my hairdryer? I'm like, oh, I don't have it, and then I get told off. So yeah, I just forget. I forget about a lot of things. I'm terrible for it. I'm really sorry. That's who I am. I forgot to bring the hairdryer up. I forget to bring it to take it back down again. So I'm just trying to stay in the good books for Christmas. You know what it's like. Maybe I should get my own hairdryer. The beard is coming through quite a bit lately. Maybe I need to have my own hairdryer. Maybe I'll get one for Christmas. Who knows? The beard is actually driving me mental. And I just said for a laugh I'm just going to grow it over winter, so it's going to come off sometime soon. It's added 10 years onto me. I'm not sure if I like it, but I've never really had a beard before. So yeah, if you can grow a beard, grow one at least once, right? I don't like it. Sounds like the sensible solution is to shave the partner's hair off. Are you going to open the present? Oh, Staff, I'm so sorry. I forgot about the present. Staff had bought me a present to open on the show. I will open the present on Discord. So if you want to see me open a present live, I'll do it over on Discord. So reason for you to come over to Discord if you weren't thinking about coming over already. I'm so sorry, Stafford. I will reveal it on next week's show. I did actually put it on the side for me to pick up, but like I say, I forget everything. And you know the Easy 8 rule. I never leave the chair. I never leave the chair. Can't walk away from the live stream. It's not how it goes. Thank you for the generous thing, by the way. That is like buying me a present was really, really kind and overly generous. Thank you so much. I will do it on Discord. If anyone is interested in coming over to Discord who hasn't got like experience with Discord before, it is basically a gamer style chat room that very quickly gained popularity in other parts of the online world. It's just a very great forum. And it's all fashioned for Easy 8's use. So if you were to follow the link down there, it will only take you to Easy 8's thing. You won't be pestered with anybody else's stuff. There's loads of little channels and stuff down the side, lots of different forums and like sub forums and things, places where I put pictures up of all my different models, places where you can put your models, places where you can chat with each other about different things, live chat room things, so you can watch me on video, talk to me on video if you want to, or you can just type to me if you like. And that's just a perpetual thing. It doesn't have to be on live show. You can just, like Facebook, I suppose, where you can just kind of like leave stuff there for your friends, but it's not like Facebook. There is a little section which says rules. You don't need to read that. It's like the same with every other place with rules. They're all like basically be respectful, don't be a douchebag. But you do need to put a little thumbs up at the bottom so that Discord knows that you are a person. So just put a little thumbs up. Just click on the little thumbs up icon. You don't even have to do anything else. Just click on it and then come and find me in one of the 3 live chat rooms that are there. This evening, I will be in a little chat room called the Commander Seat, because they're all named after places in the tank. And you can just sit there and listen and watch the rest of us kind of chat away, or you can join in yourself if you want to, and I will do Staff's present as well. How's that for you? Cool. Pretty much dry. I say pretty much dry, ever so slightly tacky in some spots on the top up there. What I'm going to do while that's kind of drying is I'm going to have a go at just painting the inside of the track bits here. Those bits of the inside track bits are Corvus Black. We've got a new subscriber, Peter S has subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the show, Peter. I hope that you find something valuable, entertaining, maybe inspiration, motivation, maybe just company. Maybe it's not your sort of thing and you're feeling pity. I hope that hope you take away something this evening. Thank you very much and Merry Christmas to you. Welcome to the show. I was really nervous about canvassing out to the local Facebook groups and things, because this is what me and Overlord will talk about last week, right? Is that there is a stigma that comes to the hobby of making models and playing war games and things. And it's a stigma that I'd like to think that has disappeared over the years, but it hasn't, not really. And it bothers me. It bothers me a lot. I've seen a lot of people being bullied at it when this is going back to school, but you still see it to some degree, even in the adult world. And while it's all fine for me to sit there and say you should absolutely have unparalleled passion for what you do, you still have that sort of social abuse, and it really bugs me. It really gripes me, and I had a lot of concerns about putting it out there in the public commons, the global commons, saying, "Hey, I do this," when actually I should have just kind of gotten over it. So it was a big deal me putting that post out. I sought permission from the people who administrate the those groups. And it looks like it's paid off this evening. So I'm actually really, really thrilled that you guys have come along and subscribed this evening. So thanks very much for that. Like, I really, really do appreciate it. Okay, so using Corvus Black. I like Corvus Black because it's not actually black. It's a really, really dark grey, and it's really, really good for doing rubber. Now, while it might be an inappropriate colour for doing tank tracks in, I just wanted something that wasn't really black. because this is a small model, and on small models, it's just better to go lighter. Lighter tones work better than darker colours, and that might just be because there's so little of the model for light to kind of reflect around and, you know, show you stuff. I don't really know why. I just know it is a science. It's a science that AK Interactive do a lot in, and they actually make historical colours very, very accurately, but they also brighten them by a factor that is relevant for most model sizes. So if you were to get the model colours and then spray them on a real life tank, they'd actually be a bit brighter. So with that in mind, I think it is better to generally go lighter with smaller things. So that is why I've decided to use this grey. I also think that in the face of all of these colours that I'm using here, that black would just be a little too stark, especially when there's a lot of track on a tank this size, right? Struggling to keep the bristles all together. I thinned that paint a little bit too much there. Yeah, so I like to use greys, really, really dark greys for my blacks. Where it is really useful for, especially in historical builds, is tyres, because black wasn't really a colour for rubber back then. This is where like all the historical nerds are now going to come back at me and go like, actually, here's a picture for your reference, and it's going to prove me totally wrong. Prove me wrong. I want to learn. Like, if I am wrong, that is fine. Do tell me. But as far as I'm aware, black rubber wasn't really a thing. And I like Corvus Black to represent that. Now, I don't know much about the wheels on the mouse. I don't know if it had metal rimmed wheels or if it actually had rubber tyres, but it does look like that there is a rim in there. Now, I could sit here and paint them all rubber black, but I'm not going to, just because it's a small build and I really can't be bothered. Now, on all my other little tanks, I have gone to the lengths of that because I think it's a nice little detail. It's just a pain in the backside to paint. So I'm just going to try and stay away from it on this particular tank. Now, I have thought about, because it is noticeably grey, I am going to do maybe like a black wash or even a black contrast paint over the top. Not really sold on contrast paints, but they do have their place in certain instances, so I am going to give it a go. And it might just help with the colour. I think it's quite clear to me now that I'm not going to get this one painted this evening, like completely finished. So what I'll do is I'll try and finish it off on Discord this evening, where I'll be there till the wee hours, or until everybody else goes home, or until I finish this model. And then I'll take some photographs of it and I'll do a big expo on it on Facebook. So those of you that are on Facebook can see it over there as well. And for those of you that like to avoid it, if you're interested, I will start putting more stuff on Discord. I've only really been using Discord as a way of kind of communicating with the community after the show, because when I created the Discord server, I suppose I was probably a little over ambitious, thinking that I had a community that was ready for it when it probably wasn't. So it didn't take off very well at first, but I kept it there because I do still use it to a degree. But if people are interested and don't want to use Facebook, then I'll start putting more material in the photo albums and etc. I've actually run out of that paint. Let me get a bit more in there. Okay, so got more comments going in. Table of Horror says, I love how the community itself has changed since like 1993. It's far more supportive of each other and the gatekeepers are chased off. In short, today's mini painting community. Do you know what? You're absolutely right. It has come a long, long way, and that kind of bullying attitude, that nature, has disappeared. And over the last sort of 10 years, being for lack of a better term, a nerd or a geek or whatever, is cool. It's in, but it's still because it's still so niche, because it's still so different. It still gets a bad rap, but it is a lot better than it used to be. You're absolutely right. To say what I was saying earlier on was quite unfair. And obviously Henry Cavill has done a lot for it. It's great to have someone out there in the celebrity limelight, someone as him who will do that for us. That is really cool. It has come a long way. Have a little drop in. Nice, there we go. And of course, he's just contracts with Games Workshop and Amazon have just been signed. So while it is 3, maybe 4 years away before we'll see anything there, we are about to see something really cool coming out of them, which is cool. And you know, it's not just this world that gets a bad rap. You know, there are other things too, but you know, maybe I see it as more prevalent because I was a part of that community. And it's just made me reluctant to speak out publicly about it. Staffer says, so progress this evening, presents all wrapped, Churchill, Matilda, Valentine, thanks Dave, all magnetised. The wheels on the mouse go round and round. They absolutely do. But what they don't do is go round and round and get painted. Not at this scale, they don't. I remember doing the 135th Panther. There were like 30 something wheels on that. You only see 6 on each side. I need a smaller brush. I've got this paint caked all the way up to the ferrule. And it's going to make some people go feral. Probably in the comment section later on. Table of Horror says, everyone says that the guy who invented the wheel is a genius. I always thought that was wrong. It was the person that invented the second wheel that was a genius. Yes. I've never thought about that before. Or the axle, right? I've got a wheel. What's it do? It spins around on the table. Brilliant. Yeah, the world before was just a world full of crazy unicyclists. Atlas World Models Mini Staff, you beat me to it with the wheels on the mouse. Yeah. Tom Bolton has joined us. Another salute. Hi Tom, another new face in the live chat. Thanks very much for coming along. Good evening to you. I hope you are well. Have a Merry Christmas. That makes it sound like I'm going somewhere. I'm not just yet. We've got some time before I go. Yeah, man, thanks for coming along. I hope you find something valuable here. I've said that so many times this evening because we've got so many new viewers coming in. But I genuinely hope that you find something valuable or entertaining here. A little bit of company or motivation to paint your miniatures, perhaps. It's just there to keep you company. It's there to keep me company. I find by having the mild pressure of making a show every week kind of gets me some time to come and paint my stuff. You know, I've got to do the show. I've got to have something to paint. I've got so much stuff to paint as well. Paint's starting to clag up my brush. I should clean it out, but I'm so close to finishing this track. I'm being really rough and crude with it as well. Like, it's not a good paint job that I'm doing here. So those of you that are new, you need to learn that I'm a rubbish painter, and it takes me a really long time to do something. So I'm going to put you off the show straight away by telling you that every week you come on, I'll be painting exactly the same thing for a year. How did everyone find Easy 8? Friends with Danny? Yeah, absolutely. There are, obviously, when you start anything like this, there will always be a bunch of your friends who I'm very grateful for, by the way, for who come along and support you. It's great. My partner's a subscriber, but she's not interested in this sort of thing at all. So yeah, there are friends and family. My dad isn't in this evening. He joins the live chat every week normally. He is a very talented artist, though. If anyone's interested in my dad's stuff, by the way, if you just check down there in some notable links to enjoy, there is a company called Purple Lion Creations, and that is my dad's company. He scratch builds terrain, buildings, or any kind of scenics for your table, all bespoke custom builds, and is sought after by the whole world. So yeah, if you are interested in just having a look through his stuff, go and check out that link. He's a gent, a top dude. And it's not here in the live chat tonight, which I find utterly unacceptable. So yeah, there's a few people in the live chat here that are friends with me, support me. Part of the Easy 8 crew, I call them. So there you go. Okay, so that is some very crudely painted tank tracks that I will neaten up a little bit later with another quick spot of that colour. And what I'm going to probably do with them, I've got some contrast paint here, Black Templar. I tried this on the October collaboration with John from Out of This World Mods and Minis. I did the whole of Gazgul's armour in this, and I didn't quite like it. Some contrast paints work really well. This one was mediocre. But it might work really well on the tracks here, because the idea is that it kind of creates it's like a thick wash, really, isn't it? So it creates a filter by going over your colours, and it runs into the recesses and creates depth. And that might be like a really good way of enhancing the colour that's on those tracks. You're not going to see them because look, you can't see them now. So it's more for me, and that's okay. But if someone wants to pick it up and go, oh, look at the tracks on that, that's kind of, why I'm doing it, right? Found Easy 8 when I was just back in the hobby around June, July. Just came up as a suggestion was, oh, this dude's cool and mellow. Thanks very much. That's exactly what I want to be. I try to not be someone I'm not, because I think that's the better thing to do. But yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And share the name Easy 8 with some friends or people who you think might benefit from the company on a Friday evening. I would really appreciate the shares. Just as important and valuable to me as a subscriber. Staff says, just to mention, you too can wear an Easy 8 hoodie. Their staff fronting the marketing division of Easy 8. Yes, I am wearing the Easy 8 hoodie tonight because I normally wear a black shirt. It's hanging up just over there, but I'm not wearing it tonight because I have put on so much weight that the buttons are strained on it and it's really uncomfortable. It's also freezing here in the studio tonight. It's only warmed up because I've got a monitor on and the computer running in the background. But it's so cold last week I was like, couldn't quite concentrate. So yeah, I'm wearing the hoodie. Got these hoodies designed for me and the Easy 8 crew, so when we go away and do shows, which we do a few of during the year, they could also wear them as well. If you are interested in them, then you need to comment down there in the comment section, not here in the live chat. I need to be able to be reminded later on, because we know now how forgetful I am at certain things. Now, talking about some forgetful things, let's just see if I've got everything that I want to talk about tonight. So I'm just going through now, making sure. Heading over to Overlord on Facebook right now. There we go. I think you should send one to Overlord HQ. Done deal. I will do that for you. Overlord Games. This is a post on Overlord Games Facebook page. We've now reached over 700 followers. Congratulations. I've been doing Easy 8 now we're into our 4th year of streaming, and I've got like 150 something followers and 145 now, maybe 146 subscribers. Thank you very much for all the subscribers, by the way. So 700 followers is an amazing amount of followers, so well done. To celebrate this, we're offering free shipping on orders over £70. Yep, that's right. You can now get the most of our bolt action starter sets with free postage. Use the discount code Overlord700 at the checkout. This code will last until December the 23rd at overlordgames.co.uk. Happy shopping. That's what the post says. So anything that you order over £70, free shipping. So if you want to go and get this especially historical 15mm stuff, but loads of other stuff as well, head on over to Overlord Games. There is a link down there in the description. Go and check it out at the very least, because there might be something there that you want to get later on. You never know. But until the end of tomorrow, you can get that free shipping on orders over £70. Look at that, 700 followers. Well done, Overlord. That's great, isn't it? Table of Horrors says, oh man, when I was in Japan, that rhymes, it was still around 25 degrees C in November when I got back here. I just remember how cold it is. What cold is? Yeah, it's particularly cold at the moment. We've also got a storm. I read in the news earlier on that the storm was so bad there was an airplane with all its passengers on board. It had to divert so quickly that everyone was screaming and vomiting. Personally, I like a bit of airplane turbulence. I think it's well fun. But apparently that group of people did not agree. So it is particularly cold at the moment, yeah. And the problem with the studio is it's in the attic of my house. So like the roof is right here on two sides, and when it's hot, and when it's cold, it's freezing. So yeah, during the summer I have to put a little fan on down by my feet. I'm a shorts guy, I wear shorts all the time, not at the moment because it's that cold, but I sit with my feet in a bowl of water with a fan blowing across them just to try and keep me cool. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I've got a little cooling fan humidifier thing, so like put ice water in it and a little fan, whatever, it does nothing, it does absolutely nothing. It's hot or cold in here, there's no in between. Hence the hoodie. So I'm just putting a bit of air on this to dry this off. In the summer this would have dried in seconds, by the way. So that I can put a little bit of stain on the cannon. Just want to be able to hold it safely. Got a little bit left in there, look. Let's use my big brush. And that coax there. Missed a little bit on the mount on the end of the cannon. Flip them over quick. Underneath on the coax. I like that word, coax. Good word. Probably overdone it with the staining on the mantlet there. What can you do? A bit of tissue paper gone. There it is. Use my thumb instead. Nice. Do you know what? I'm pretty chuffed with that. It's looking really cool. I was really hoping I was going to get this finished tonight. I am very, very close to having it finished, even if I don't have the decals for it yet. But basically, this needs to dry a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing. What I'm going to do with the greens, for example, I've got 3 different coloured greens. I've got the base, I've got the shadow, which is what I've used already. And I was just going to use a little bit of the brighter colours to do like a little bit of dry brushing on the greens. The same when it comes to the reds. I've only got 2 in my hand right now, but I've got a base and a shadow. I've got a highlight version of that as well. And I was just going to use those to dry brush just on the edges, for example here, just like on the tops, on the edges of the armour, just sort of highlight those. And on the yellows, of course, I've got the yellows, the whole range of yellows there, which I was going to do the same, and just try to bring some of the details out on the top and on the sides of the tank. It's a very, very slab armour tank. There are no details on it, nothing at all really. On the side of the turret there's a tiny little pistol hatch, which is like a tiny little dot divot detail on there, but with a tiny dry brush on it will bring that out a little bit. I tried that on some of my other German tanks and it works really, really well, and I'm hoping that it will work on this too. I could of course try, rather than using the colours for dry brushing on the coloured strips, is actually using the yellow base on it, and that might do what Kez was suggesting earlier on, which might kind of give the impression of kind of like chipping or weathering. Overlord Games are saying 3 subs from that one of our 150 sub goal mate. The reason I'm struggling to read that is because there's a stupid little heart symbol in front of that word. Only can read the full thing when it goes up the screen a little bit, but I can see what you're saying. Yes, 3 subs away, so we're 147 subs. So started off tonight at 142, so that's incredible. Thank you so much for subscribing. It really does make a difference. The more subscribers, obviously the channel grows and I continue doing what I do, but obviously more people get to know this. It shares more people with you, makes a happier, safer community of painters. Like I've said, I do want to do like a gaming community as well, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. Sinistral Painting, no such thing as too much shade. Thanks very much. Another new face in the live chat. Thanks very much for coming along. How many times am I going to say it? I'm so grateful. What a Christmas this has turned out to be, and now I feel really bad that I haven't got that present from Stafford up here. I'm going to do it in Discord. Alright, I'm going to do it in Discord. I think I've done as much as I could possibly do here this evening. I'm going to carry on tonight. Let's come away from here. Tis a silly place, right? We're going to finish in a few minutes. Like John last week was basically saying, oh my god, we got like an extra 15 minutes out of you. This week you're likely to get more. So, I'm going to read through all the live chat stuff here. I would love to support a local model shop, but no one sells BattleTech in Devon. You're absolutely right. I think BattleTech died, didn't it, basically some years ago, and through games online, etc., has come back out into the public world, and it's great because it's a fantastic game. Like Warhammer 40,000, I like Warhammer because it was one of my first love games. Really, it's got such a rich history. It's got such a big and involving and deep lore. And BattleTech has got exactly that. It's a very different universe. It's a very different set of lore and background, but it's been cultivated and created by the fans, by writers over decades now, that it's really rich and involving. And frankly, if you like things like Tolkien, because they're rich in their history and their lore and background, then you should be liking these things as well. And shame on you if you don't. No, just kidding. But that's why we kind of get involved in these sort of fantasy lands, right? It's because of the story that goes along with them. I've read as many books as I've played games in Warhammer 40,000, and I know that there's just exactly the same sort of world out there for BattleTech, and it's a shame that it's not so prevalent as what the Games Workshop games are. However, they are making a really big resurgence. Classic BattleTech is the old Hex game that you used to be able to buy. Now, Kez knows way more on BattleTech, so if I get this wrong, she probably will correct me, and you should. But there's the classic game of BattleTech, which is the one that's been around for decades. That's still out there. You can still buy models for it, especially the old ones. Then they made BattleTech Dark Ages, which is going slightly more into the future, where it's played on slightly larger miniatures, and they got like the little dials at the bottom where you can kind of track your heat and your armor and your damage and things like that on the. That's really cool. I've got one of those because I quite like it. But wasn't really the sort of game that I would play lots of, but you don't need an awful lot to play it, which is great. Then there's the new game that's been released recently, which is Alpha Strike. Kez has bought all of the stuff for that game, the new set of rules, model packs that are being released all the time, and they are really, really good quality models. One of the things that I didn't like about BattleTech, the old ones, where the quality of the sculpts weren't really in keeping with modern stuff now. But the Alpha Strike stuff is incredible, and there's also now the world of 3D printing, and there's lots of fans out there and proper companies as well that are producing really, really good quality sculpts of BattleTech stuff, and it's definitely worth you looking at. If you're looking for something that's future, that isn't Warhammer, it's basically the other side of the field, man. The grass is just as green. It's a really, really good game to get involved in, and it plays really quick as well, but it doesn't lose any of the detail that you would be seeking from an involving game. Go and check out BattleTech. The only thing is, like Kez says, no one really stocks it in a brick and mortar store. Like, it's not like you can go to a Games Workshop style place. The new models are for both Classic and Alpha Strike. Well, there you go. So you've been corrected already. Well, that's why we have a community, right? But you should definitely go and check it out. BattleTech used to use a lot of Robotech designs. They did. There's a reason for that. Kez is going to tell us. I know she's typing already. I used to watch Robotech cartoons as a kid. I think that it was a cartoon version of Created for Children. I had like a couple of toys of it. I play MechWarrior Online all the time, was playing it this morning, so if you're interested in that, you can kind of join me playing online as well. It's a free game and you should get it because it's great fun. Yeah, cool. What else? Other comments. That's where we got involved in, wasn't it? Kez was saying no one supports that, blah blah blah. Who makes BattleTech? Catalyst Games. Yeah, the manufacturers of BattleTech has changed a lot. I think even WizKids owned it at one point, and they're the people that created Magic the Gathering. I might be wrong on that one, but anyway. A gaming community. How do you feel about tabletop roleplay games? Great question. I'm glad you've asked that because I play roleplay games. I play all games. I've got an entire bookshelf full of board games downstairs. I'm a big D&D fan. I haven't played a lot of D&D, but I do play it. I've played it since I was a child. My dad used to be a GM or DM, sorry, for years and years. So I kind of grew up with it. I've got some of the original dungeon creating sets where you've got all the cardboard layouts and things. I play it at work, which is a really cool thing. And this is what I was talking about earlier on, where like games are now cool. And do you know what? The Big Bang Theory's got a big part to play in this because that was such a popular program. It popularized things like that. and the nature of being a nerd or a geek. And Simon Pegg also has come out very publicly talking about how proud he is to be a geek or a nerd, and damn right, frankly, damn right, because it's such a wonderful world with such wonderful people in it. Like LAN gaming back in the late 90s, D&D is just a great way to connect with people and just have fun and create an interactive story. If you like reading books, then you should love playing D&D or other RPGs. And one of the models that I'm going to hopefully be painting next week is a miniature from Gloomhaven, which is a board game style Dungeons and Dragons type game. So it takes away the sort of free scope nature that roleplay games often have, like, oh, what do you do next, and the world is your oyster. It's a board game version of, so you get lots of cards. It's a very heavily card based game. It's probably the most expensive board game that you will ever purchase in your entire life, and I bought it because my partner was interested in it, and I thought it's a bit of a gamble, but it's nearly 10 kilos, and it was £140 before shipping. Get it from Zatu, because you're not going to get ripped off from Zatu. They're a good games company to buy from, but it comes with a whole pile of characters to play, and they all come with their own little sculpted miniatures. Now those sculpts aren't as top quality as something like perhaps even a 3D printer, but like from Games Workshop, for example. But they are still very, very good quality, and my partner's like, oh, I'd be ashamed to not have these all painted up. That was a hint with a big elbow. So bit by bit, I'm going to start working my way through all of the miniatures that are in that box set. We play it together. It's a 4-player game, up to 4 players. You can play it solo or up to 4. There's only me and her playing it because it's such an involving game. There's over 90 scenarios in it, and if we played one a week, that's like, what, 2 years worth of gaming, and we've only just really got involved in it. I bought it last year for Christmas, so there's a lot to do in it yet. So I'm just going to, as we unlock the characters through the game or choose new characters, I'm just going to pick up a miniature and I'm going to paint it. So I'm going to be bringing 1 or maybe 2 of those along next week, because it's time to move away from this little mouse here, and I'm going to finish that over next week. So yes, I absolutely love tabletop RPGs. I've played them all the way through my teens. I played things like Vampire the Masquerade until I was blue in the face. I'm a massive fan of the Warhammer Old World universe, not so much the Age of Sigmar, but there have been countless iterations of Warhammer in a tabletop scenario, and that is an absolutely fantastic game to play. It's really dark, it's really gritty, you're supposed to die in it, although actually for the decades that I've been playing that game, very few people actually have died because the story's so good, yeah? Shadowrun is an amazing game, but you've got to be switched on for it, and we've even dabbled a little bit into the Battletech RPG. If you can think of a franchise, there is an RPG for it, I guarantee you. There is one out there, and I love them. Other comments going in. New Face says, Sinistral painting. Nah, it's very old. I don't believe you. Trying to make sure that I get all of these comments going in. A Plastic Monkey saying, great show. Thank you so much. It really means a lot when people say these things. So thank you very much indeed. Making sure that I'm getting all of these comments in. I believe there's about 6 designs FASA, the creator, Battletech got permission to use. Oh, that are for Robotech. Yeah, that's right. Tabletop RPGs are my bag. If you ever want to play something outside the D&D circle, I'll happily run something for you. Brilliant, that's great to know. Thank you very much. I run a lot of World of Darkness games, mostly Vampire the Masquerade, but I can run others. And there we go, Vampire the Masquerade. I've played them all. I've played one game of Oblivion, and that was so dark, but it was great fun. And I played that when I was about 18 or 19, and I'm 42 now, so that's how long ago it was. Old World incoming soonish, maybe later, says Overlord Gaming Stores. Yes, basically people, die-hard fanatics of Warhammer, miss the Old World universe. I certainly do, and the resurgence of Warhammer Total War, of course, has brought it back into the popular limelight again, so it's great to see it coming back. Age of Sigmar, while it's brought in a new wave of gaming lovers, new people, children, etc. That can't be denied. It's a great thing for that, but it's not my bag. It's not really my thing. Age of Sigmar is a little too watered down. It's not really what I'm looking for from Warhammer. So they're bringing it back, and they've done a really good thing. They're going back further back down the timeline, because the old game that we used to play was right at the end of times. I'm doing this a lot today. At the end of times, and then the world ended, and then created Age of Sigmar So to just kind of go back to what they did in the past would just make no sense, right? So they're going back even further in history, which I think is a smart move, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited for it to come back. Merry Christmas, everyone, says Out of This World Models and Minis. Merry Christmas, John. Thanks for coming along, and thanks for being such a staunch supporter of this show. It feels like it's the end of the year. I feel like I'm kind of like seeing the year out, but we've got another show before then. At some point, I'll be learning the Old World Warhammer 40k tabletop RPG soon. I really wanted to play it. I haven't played it yet because I do this. I paint all my miniatures. I play games. I have work, and that's very committed work, unfortunately. Like, I do a lot with my work, and I'm one of those buggers that have got like a really good job. Like I've got the dream job, and I'm never going to let go of it. So it really holds me back into what I can do, like my personal time. I play D&D whenever I get the chance at work, and of course I've got a partner on top of that, so I've got to be careful about how I manage my time. So yeah, what games do you play at any one time? You got to be careful. Time is a premium, right? But yes, the Warhammer 40k, it was redone by can't remember who it was by now. It's gone. It's a German company, and they did a treat. It looks really, really good. They actually brought out a little comic that had the characters from the game teaching you how to play a game, and that was really insightful. And if anyone's interested, you should definitely. Wrath and Glory is the name of the actual game. I forget the manufacturer, but you should definitely go and check it out. It looks amazing. Danny, we should do Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I'm in the middle of writing the next stage of your adventure. I just need more time. I'm in writer's block. I do so much stuff. So much stuff to talk about, right? Not getting any painting done. Welcome to Easygate's chat club. I hope you're having a great time. It's time that I brought this evening to an end. I am going to go and get myself a quick refreshment. I've got a beer here, just on the side, waiting to go into Discord this evening. So if you want to carry on the conversation, please do. There's a link just down there, down to there, put my teeth back in. I do stammer, sorry. Down for Discord, the Easy 8 after party. Come and join me there. I'll be there in about 10 minutes, alright? And you can come and join me, and I'll be up all night for as long as you guys want to stay up, just chatting about all the exciting things that I'm sure we want to talk about. And yeah, and that's that really for tonight. Thank you so much for all the new subscriptions. Please do share, like, share. Like, share and subscribe. I pushed the wrong button. It's a live stream. Things go wrong sometimes. Like I said, I'm not very good at this. Don't forget the present. Oh no, I'll bring the present, don't worry. Yeah, I'm so sorry, I hit the wrong button. If you like what I do, and I do get things wrong, and I do it all the time, man. That's the first time I pushed that button though. Do please tell some friends about it. Go and get the word out there. Comment, after the show. Put down there in the comment section. Thumbs up the video. Share it. Like it. Subscribe. Everything. All hail the algorithm. It gets it out there, spread out there, and I want more and more people to know about the community. Not just so that they can watch me on a Friday evening, but so that they can connect with you guys as well. I get a free license here to share whatever I want. So down there you'll also find like a whole load of links and things like that to go to places like Overlord, Purple Eye Creations, Charlie Foxtrot Models, Ironclad. The list goes on and on of people who provide you with great services, models, products, advice. Other YouTube shows like Out of This World Models and Minis. Go and check them all out. That's what the show's all about. It's about connecting everybody together. And I'm incredibly grateful for all the new people and for all the people that I've been following for a long time as well. Coming along this evening. I promise I won't push the wrong button again. That's me. Until next week. In the meantime, have yourselves a very, very Merry Christmas. I am absolutely blown away by the amount of viewers this evening. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you for the stream again. Hey, due to you, I have a smeg load of 15mm tanks painted. You're very welcome. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, be kind, stay safe, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye. And that's where that button's supposed to come in. I push it there. That's what the script says. Do as you're told. Have a Merry Christmas.